The character of Dawson, and especially Dawson and Amanda's relationship, it's so intense, and I haven't done something so emotionally intense, and the stakes are so high for these characters, and it's always really fun to go so far out and to really commit, and it's been an absolute pleasure doing that. That, and also the fact that this is, you know, filming down in a beautiful place like New Orleans, which is a thrill, and also, you know, these Nicholas Sparks's books and movies are so well loved, and they're great films. I mean, everyone loves The Notebook, and to be part of that, it's really exciting. The story of The Best of Me, you know, it's two high school kids from very different backgrounds. They fall in love, and as it tends to do, the world tries to rip them apart. But there's always this love between them, and they don't see each other for a while, and they can't come back, and they've got to tiptoe around that idea of first love, and when to let go and what to hold on to. And you know, one of those great stories that involves all the emotions that we feel, that we hope to feel, that we are feeling, and I think that's what the audience is really going to love about it. I play young Dawson, and I think he's a really interesting fellow. He comes from a kind of nefarious background, to say the least. His family isn't the cleanest of whistles, but I think he's very different from a lot of them. But something he struggles with is when he finds himself maybe being quite similar to them, and that can scare him. But he's a very intelligent guy, and the complexity comes in the fact that he's a really intelligent guy and a very noble and lovable guy, and I think he's got a very strong moral fiber and a very strong character, and it's funny because he's been kind of beat down a lot of his life, and it's really hard for him to accept that he's a good person in his heart, and to accept that people would want to be around him and want to be with him. He has a certain mistrust of people, and he's kind of, as much as he's been surrounded by his family, he's almost lived alone in that environment. James Marsden plays the older version of Dawson, and I mean, he's such a great bloke. He's really such a great bloke, and I think that's one of the great qualities he brings to Dawson, this approachability, this fact that you know he's a good guy right there. You just have to look at him and you can see it in his eyes, and I think that's really key to Dawson, is that underneath all of it, he is so considerate and so giving of himself, and just tries to, maybe to a fault of his own, but just wants to make everyone else happy in a certain way. But James brings, this real approachability to it, and this warmth, that even though he's grown, even though it's been time and he's been hardened and gone through certain adversity, that strength is coupled with that real kind of warmth that James has. Liana Liberato plays Amanda, young Amanda, and I mean, Liana is cute as a button. And I think that's really something that there's a real innocence to her and a beauty to her that comes through, and she's very bubbly and doesn't have a mean bone in her body, and I think that really comes through in her portrayal of Amanda. We were very fortunate. We got to spend 2-3 weeks before production rehearsing and literally just hanging out, getting to know each other, having a coffee and walking around the French Quarter, and it was so important. I feel so thankful for it, because, as I said, these scenes and this story that we're portraying, it's all these really intense and consequential moments of these people's young relationship, and you have to go all the way out and fully commit to it, and to know that if you're going to go out and fully commit to something, someone's going to be there to match you and to meet you and to hold you up. And I think we were able to gain such a great trust between each other in terms of tackling this love story head on and really making it be a love story that people wanted to be a part of. Gerald McRaney plays Tuck, and I had such a good time working with him. I mean, when you make movies, all you want to do is work with people that inspire you and can teach you something that you don't know already. And every day at work, there was something that Mac taught you, and he was such a warm and lovable guy. Great stories, loved his history. We'd always have good chats about God knows what. He was really just such an approachable man, and so lovely and so giving with the times he spent on a movie set and filming and working. It's invaluable when he can give you some advice on on anything really, on really anything. It was an absolute pleasure getting to know him. I hope I get to work with him again. There was a beautiful scene on the roof here between Liana and I, where we kind of, we've just had a kind of intense run-in with my family, and I'm really worried about her, and we have a beautiful scene on the roof, and it's so intense and it's so passionate and beautiful, and that was a really fun scene to film because it was so involved, you know. It was a bit of a chilly night, and they've got the rainmakers on, but it's kind of funny. They say rolling and they bring the rain up and it's freezing and you're soaking wet, but the moment they say action, I couldn't feel anything, and you know you're doing a good job and you're in a really important and intense scene when everything else goes to the wayside and you're just right there with an actor. So that was a really rewarding scene and a fun scene to film as an actor. I think when you see this film, you've got a lot to look forward to. It's a nice break from reality. I think it's going to be a beautiful time spent away from whatever you've got to do in the day, and it's such an epic and kind of full-on love story that you can't help but get swept up in. You know, everyone. I think I said it before, but everyone feels these emotions, or has felt these emotions, or wants to feel these emotions, or is currently feeling these emotions in this movie, and when you can see that on screen and grab that and recognize that, it's always very comforting, I think, and it can be very kind of therapeutic in a way. But it's also, yeah, you know, it's a beautiful film to sit down and watch with someone you love, or someone you're falling in love with, or even your good friend.